Welcome back to another episode of Talking Points. Today we are joined by Zhou Guanyu from Alfa Romeo F1 team ORLEN. Thank you so much for taking the time to have a little chat with us. First of all, how are things going at the moment? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I feel great. Obviously, it's the last proper day of testing before the first race weekend coming up. But as a team, I think we did most of mileage out of all the days today. So that's always good of progressing. And getting used to the new car. Everything, of course, is so new to me. And
I think, first of all, the thing I actually want to ask and just want to get straight out there is talking about your helmet design. Now, I absolutely love it because I think there's a bit of a Kobe theme to it, isn't there? Kobe Bryant, and obviously with your number as well, number 24. So I remember, I think even in Formula 2, you had a Kobe Bryant themed helmet, I think, when he passed away. So tell us a little bit about that because, honestly, it is one of the most beautiful helmets I've seen, for sure.
I enjoyed watching my onboard after. It looks quite cool. And in general, I think the numbers, of course, is a lot related to Kobe because I'm a fan of him, and the colors is like basically I love purple and yellow, so I just put all two together, and it's actually the color of kind of the Lakers. Yes, everything just come quite together, but I always want to run my colors in F2, but unfortunately I try to do something a bit different to go with the car, but I think purple is perfect with the red, just have a little bit of like standing out, a difference, and works very well. And I don't design it, but I have an idea for most of the design on my helmet with the Chinese skyline.
Yeah, so the Shanghai, wasn't it?
But two sides is different because it's all popular buildings, and then we have the white porcelain, and it's all just traditional back home. So
it definitely, you're not going to mistake it for anyone else's helmet. It looks absolutely stunning.
Well, he is the big basketball fan here, so you've made his dream come true of having basketball and Formula One merging together, those two worlds together. So he is a very happy man right now. And we spoke a little bit before the podcast about a bit of you don't like to call it sim racing because you're not that hardcore into it, but just gaming in general. When you took part in the virtual GPs and was quite successful in them, in all fairness. Since then, do you still partake in just jumping on the F1 game, or are you too busy now to get involved with gaming?
To be honest, I think last year, during the season, even last Christmas, I was having nothing to do back home in UK. It was basically I was doing still quite a lot simulator racing, but mainly in, like you said, Formula One game, because for my friends, like the people back home in China, they play this the most, so that's the reason I stick with that, and I treat that like a simulator racing, but it is more for fun, because when we spend so many days in the simulator, so professional sim, I don't want to be again doing the same at home. I just want to play on the open lobbies and having some dramatic races.
We'll have to jump on at some point. I'll get you into like a no-rules race where we can just cut the corners as much as we want, take people out, just have some fun with it.
We're still like strict corner cut though.
I am absolutely terrible at sim racing, as many people know, so I'm definitely not going to be able to keep up with you guys at all.
Your invite's lost in the
terrible. But do you kind of use sim racing as a bit of like downtime just to chill out? Is it kind of, because again you said it's more for fun, like with your mates back at China, is it more just for fun?
Yeah, exactly. There's people from here, Europe, and also friends back home. So we use that quite a bit, because the first time I actually got into it, it was, the quarantine, like the year, I can't remember, I think 2020.
2020,
everything got delayed. So that's the first time, I had the virtual Grand Prix. I drove it. I won the first Grand Prix, so I started to enjoy it and try to putting more effort into it, but it's always fun,
Yeah, clearly the skills are very transferable from racing in real life to then obviously, but you do a lot of simulator work as well, and we actually jumped on the same simulator that you guys used to train in, where we jumped on the
flyers.
Flyers are crazy around here today,
Very popular,
I race quite regularly, and I'm used to having a heavy brake pedal, and I remember jumping on there, and he was just like, you're doing about 50% brake, and I was just like, I feel like I'm going the full way. Is that a big difference between jumping from, a go-kart or something like that to an F1 car where the brakes are so solid and the strength that is needed to be a Formula One driver?
Yeah, definitely. To be honest, firstly, I think every category or every chassis you drove, the brakes will be different, different manufacturers, so that already put a lot of difference on the pressure. I think that the brake pedal, the pressure itself is the first efficient feedback you get when you're driving any cars you jump in. And even in Formula One, every team, they have different system. And in Formula One, also Formula 2, all the pedal become very strong, so you have to be very pushing hard to achieve the efficient peak, because at the end of the day, the big breaking point is very important with so much downforce in the car. So
no skipping leg day.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely not. Now, a little bit away from the track and away from Formula One, I know that you're into your fashion a little bit. I've seen your Instagram, you've got some really good fits. Well, who do you think on the grid this season, who do you think is the most stylish driver, do you think?
I think it's a very obvious question, is Lewis Hamilton.
He always brings the drip, no doubt.
Yeah, but honestly, like from my side, watching from outside in the past few years, I think it's very cool because the culture is like bringing, the basketball player when they're entering the
100%,
game, and you can be your own lifestyle. I think on Thursday before you enter the pack.
Yeah, when they go into the games, it's similar to when the drivers come in. They've got that kind of little walk before they get to their teams to kind of express themselves. Do you think that's something that you're going to are you going to show a bit more of that for sure?
We find out this year, but I won't say much at the minute. But yeah, in the end of the day, I think. It's nice to be able to wear exactly what you like and to show a little bit more personality and rather than just always with the team kit. But of course,
and I think in Formula One especially, obviously, it is of course really formal, but it is great to see some drivers. I mean, Lewis, again, he stands out to someone like me who he wears what he wants. He's totally committed to it. And yeah, again, I'm looking forward to seeing some of your outfits throughout this year, no doubt about it.
Moving back to F1 then, and it's your first season in Formula One. You've done previous testing, so it's not like you're brand new to an F1 car. But with limited testing that there is in these days, is it harder for a rookie compared to someone like when Valtteri started into the sport? Is it harder, would you say?
I mean, I think as a rookie, I think it's just pretty hard in general. I think it doesn't matter what year, but yeah, with the new era coming into Formula One, you have the advantage and disadvantage both sides. So advantage is that the team kind of is having to find another benchmark. But of course, the disadvantage is for me, I have no data to compare.
Yeah.
So Barcelona, when I do day 2, I had a little bit more data. Bahrain, day 1, it was completely like starting from zero on my side, having not a lot of reference, and then to build that reference and working from that as a team. So yeah, it's a lot to take as a rookie with only 6 days and limited mileage. So everything seems to be working well so far. I think I learned quite a lot, especially in TO2 this time.
You did look comfortable out there today, though, because I think it was in second in the timings for the morning session. Some pretty quick laps as well on the softer tyres. So is the confidence getting there? Has it been just building up? Is that what you're focused on really?
Definitely. I mean, today I think is the most confident I ever felt with the car, so it's good. It means like the way as a team we work is in the right direction, and it's always good to have the car is the driver preferred.
Yeah.
And of course, the other thing is that we did like 80 plus laps, which is very impressive mileage and having no issues. So that's another key point with this season, Yeah, overall, I'm very happy with so far what we achieved as a team, but it's been a very smooth morning.
And in terms of also some of the other drivers, also some of them are quite a bit older, like Fernando. I think you're a big fan. I'm a big Fernando Alonso fan. I think you are as well. So obviously racing with that generation, but I know that especially in Formula 2 for the past couple of years, a lot of the drivers are really close, really good friends, and obviously you raced with Yuki and you raced with Mick as well. How is it now going to be compared, do you think? Is it a little bit strange now racing them in Formula 1 when all of you are racing in Formula 2?
To be honest, the guys like you mentioned in Formula 2 coming from the last 2 years, I know them pretty well, so it's quite usual because I raced against them in the past in my racing journey. But of course you have like people like Fernando said, Lewis is somebody that you look up to when you are young, and when you are a little kid you want to be as good as them. But it feels firstly quite special. Like when I did FP1 last year, having like
incredible,
engineer tell you like Hamilton is 3 seconds behind, watch your mirrors and looking them in the same track. But now, I'm more like settled into it, so it feels quite normal now.
I was going to say, the first time on the track when you have like, Lewis or Fernando near you, was it a little bit like, wow? I mean, this is just a strange feeling.
Yeah, it's like, it's a bit like that, and you feel, is that like real or not? Because, he's a young driver that to be very close to Formula One, because when I did FP1, I still remember the motion going for my mind.
Yeah.
You can't explain, but it was just something special.
You can't hold back in wheel-to-wheel combat though. When you see Fernando or Lewis, like you got to go for it. So that's gonna be fun.
We did see as well on your Instagram, you posted about when you were with Alonso when he drove in his championship-winning car, and that was like a big moment for you to sort of be there and watch him do that. Is there any classic F1 car that you would love to drive, that you would just be like, get me in that? Goodwood Festival speed, let me drive this car, please.
To be honest, I think the one he drove back in the day was a very impressive one, because I remember I'm sure you guys saw it on F1 that I hold the flag of that car. Because that's give me a very going back memory. So it's like the very first few.
That's where it all started with motorsport.
So if I can try that car, of course it's very impressive. But the sounds are very loud in these, that's for sure.
And then looking ahead to the season, obviously Bahrain only a few days, actually only a week away, of course, from the Grand Prix. So what are your kind of expectations at the moment for the season, and more so for the first race, sir? What are you kind of looking to achieve, basically?
Yeah, I think first race, I wouldn't have a target, but of the season, I think the main target is try to go into Q2. We don't know where we stand at the minute because it's only testing, but it will be nice to make progress improvement compared to the team last year. And then also, fighting for the points finish in the race. That will be, of course, the whole season object. But for the first race, in next week times, I don't want to put any too much pressure on myself. It's more for me just to learn, and I'm sure if I can manage to put everything together, maybe something could happen, but let's see.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure, and thank you very much for taking the time to speak to us today. Thank you for coming on to the Talking Points podcast.
Thank you, guys.
And we wish you the best of luck for the rest of the season. That is going to do for this episode of the Talking Points podcast. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more, and we'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.